Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Saturday shout out. Yep, that's right. Hashtag shout out Saturdays in the Thrive Tribe. I am super excited about our guest today. Her name is Melissa. I think I've known Melissa for about 3 years. We've done some work together. We've collaborated on little projects together. We've laughed together. And she is one of the most extraordinary and inspirational women I know. So welcome to the show, Miss Melissa.
Hello there. Well, that was a very nice introduction.
Sure. Well, very deserving. Melissa, for those of you in the Thrive Tribe of the 1,700 plus people we have in here who may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself personally.
All right. I am a mother of two sons, and they are now 25 and 20. They have flown the coop. So one lives in San Jose. He's an engineer. Started his engineering practice there. And my other son plays baseball down in San Diego for Grossmont Community College.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I'm just kind of having fun doing what I like, and I'm doing a lot of self-care. And it's been great, and I've been able to really focus on my work, but I also enjoy gardening, and I'm very involved with my church with lots of different groups and activities and humanitarian kind of activities. And um, I like to exercise, and I think that about covers it. I really am passionate about my work, so I love to work probably a little bit too much, but
I relate to that.
I try to balance that.
Tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
So I am currently a climate and culture specialist with an emphasis in social emotional learning for Fresno Unified School District. And right now, I am involved with many in our office, really trying to put out what social emotional learning is to our educators, to our district leaders, to community members. So many times when you say that you work in the social emotional learning field, they automatically think of our tier 2 or tier 3 students, which of course it does address them, but social emotional learning is for everyone, all children and all adults. And in adults, we usually hear it called EQ, or emotional intelligence. And I know I'm still developing mine. So just getting out there what social emotional learning is, and how really it is synonymous with emotional intelligence, EQ. Once you explain that, and how the corporate world has known how important social emotional learning is for quite a long time. In fact, I went to an EQ training, and I was the only educator there. Really, they had top executives from corporations there, because they know that their employees must develop their emotional intelligence, because it affects their bottom line. And not so sure why education's taken a while to figure that out, but we're there now. So we're excited to do the work and really address the whole child.
Yeah, what you say is so important, because I think, being in education myself for over 25 years, and then getting my doctorate in organizational change and leadership in a program that wasn't just educators. It was business and education, which I really valued. I realized that we have not historically put a emphasis on emotional intelligence and social emotional learning in education. And we haven't put an emphasis on employee engagement, which I think is huge for education, and hopefully we're shifting in that direction.
Absolutely.
Melissa, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing teachers today? I know you go out into lots of classrooms and visit teachers and help support them. What do you think is the biggest challenge they face?
I just finished co-leading as our social emotional learning institute for teachers, and really there were some very emotional moments with teachers because they feel like they feel like they don't have the tools they need to address some of the issues that happen within the classroom with some of our students who are dealing with adversity, and maybe need the extra love and attention that is difficult sometimes for a teacher to address when she's also has the pressure of all of the test scores and, you know, performance. And, you know, you have a ton of things you have to get in these little minds. And sometimes when you have challenging behaviors, they do interfere with that. However, there was so much gratitude after the Institute because they didn't know about the neuroscience behind the behaviors and how humans really just have a real longing for belonging and acceptance and being heard. And so once we had gone through the neuroscience behind that and the neuroscience behind brain breaks, and it just was eye-opening to them. And they said, many of the comments said, you know, I feel a new passion for my, you know, for my profession. I wanted to really quit, but now I feel like I understand what's behind, you know, that I need to figure out what's behind that behavior. What is it? There is a cause. They're not just coming in to say, I'm going to ruin my teacher's life today. And that's not it. So I think really it just comes from education. So the teachers just want to know how to address these issues. And I think that they understand now that we need to figure out their story. And it is possible, and we should be compassionate and have empathy, but love really is holding those students to a high standard, finding that ZPD, the zone of proximal development, and pushing. You know, it's not beneficial to them to say, poor you, I know you can't do the work, you just sit there and be quiet. That's not okay, and that's not going to help them in the long run. And so we had discussions about that, but I mean, just the whole Institute, I think, was just learning that, you know, the neuroscience, and then also how to embed social emotional learning into their guaranteed viable curriculum was very eye-opening to them. They had practice doing it. They engaged in brain breaks. They engaged in activities such as morning meetings that cultivate connection. And they got to actually feel what it feels like. And I think that's the most important thing, because when you feel it, you say, I want this for my kids. I want this in my classroom.
And I think that is so valuable. Someone asked me yesterday, you know, what do I think is kind of the magic shift that you know, or what tip would I recommend for creating change? And what I told him was that I think educators need to get fed and experience things for themselves in order to want to create that shift for someone else, right? And that's exactly kind of what you did. You gave them an opportunity to feel belonging and connection. Then in turn, that feels good. They want to bring it to their kids, which is different than being told this is what you need to do.
Absolutely.
It's a totally different experience. I love it.
They also felt like they were heard, but they also felt fed and nurtured, you know, and so many times our teachers feel alone. They feel, although we have accountable communities and they work with their colleagues, some of those are more functional than others. And many of them just said that they had that stress 24/7, you know, and no way to relieve it. But we went into how important it is for self-care, and they started feeling like, you know, I always felt kind of guilty about that, but you're right. You you can't you can't give anything from an empty cup. You've got to, you've got to take care of yourself. And I think they went away with knowing that.
I love it. I love it. All right. I'm going to ask you just some kind of random questions. Are you ready, Melissa?
Yes.
So think of it like a morning meeting, a community circle.
Okay.
If you describe yourself as a piece of fruit, what fruit best represents Melissa?
I think an orange.
Okay. Because?
I think because the color is orange, which reminds me of sunshine, and I really like to be enthusiastic and be optimistic and help people cheer up. But it's hard on the outside, so I feel like I can sometimes armor up, but I am very soft inside. And I really enjoy speaking to others and getting to that same point in them. I like deep conversation and understanding what I want to know all about you.
And that deep conversation is the juiciness of the orange.
There you go.
All right. What is a hidden talent that you have that we may not know about you, but something that you're good at?
Like hidden talent.
Maybe you can sing opera. Maybe you can turn your eyelid inside out.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe you can do handstands. You don't have to demonstrate the talent. Just tell us about it.
Well, I am double jointed in my elbow, and I can twist my arm all, around farther than most. I can't think of much more than that, but I'm pretty flexible.
Wow. And do you do yoga with your flexibility?
I do yoga.
What is your guilty summer pleasure? So something that you just, when summer comes, you're like, thank God it's here because I get to do whatever it is. That's your guilty summer pleasure.
I think really it comes down to taking my time to really rest and take care of myself, because I am on a teacher's schedule. I have all this time, and I just have my first day today of vacation. Yeah. Yay! So I get every morning I have a routine I go through, but I think I can prolong it and make it as good as I want, such as like I have a spiritual time, but then after that I always do exercise. Sometimes my exercise does not get to be a whole hour, but now I can just take time, spend as much time with the spiritual stuff, as much time with the exercise, and as much time in my garden cultivating my plants as I want. I mean, it's just there are no time constraints at all. I love that.
Definitely sounds like a time for rejuvenation and just filling up your cup so that you can do all the hard work that you do all year serving others. This question I don't want you to overthink. Just kind of say the first thing that pops into your mind. Okay. But if you could teach the world just one thing, what would it be? And what would you want them to learn and why?
I think if I could teach the world one thing, it would be to be kind. Yep, to be kind, and just know that every single one of us humans on the earth, we're all very, very, very similar. We're so much more similar than we are different. And to try and find that in every human being you come into contact with. Just be kind.
The world would definitely be a different place if we could all do that, right? Make it contagious. So I'm adding a new feature. I've only done this on the last couple of interviews, but I saw this done on another show, on Jerry Seinfeld's show, actually. So I'm just going to experiment with it. So I'm just going to throw this out there to you to have one question for me. So what's one question that you're the interviewer, one question, what's one question you have for me?
How about if you could do one thing and teach everyone in the world one thing, what would that one thing be? I'm gonna throw that back at you.
All right. I think I would want to teach the world empathy. I this all goes along with kindness and compassion. There's so much we need to teach, right?
Oh, yes.
But I think that if people could just for a moment think, how do my actions and how does what I'm saying impact another person? That's through empathy. If they see another person who is distraught, they might say to themselves, what's going on with that other person that's making them distraught? And I think that if we just kind of stepped out of ourselves for a moment to think about, why are people acting the way they do? Kind of what you said earlier about the students, right? Like there's a reason. And so why is that? And just knowing, I think that we often judge others at their worst possible moment, but we always want others to judge us at our best possible moment. And so kind of keeping that in mind, that this moment is just a moment in their lives. It's not the whole book. It's just a little chapter. And so I think that's what I would want to teach the world.
All right. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Melissa. We appreciate your insights. And I know that, every time I show a shout out video, it always resonates with somebody who doesn't know you, who's going to watch this and just be like, oh, that meant so much to me. So I appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable and share with us. And for the rest of you out there, if you are willing to be interviewed to be a Thrive Tribe member of the week, please just shoot me a little message or email. I want to hear from you. And the rest of us want to know your story too. Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye.